You may think you understand risk, but how do cruise liners and insurance companies manage risk? Stay tuned to find out.
You are listening to Wealth Talks, and today we have a special guest on the show. Mom, Michelle McFie, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's always nice to have you join us, Michelle. You bring such an interesting perspective to the show.
An interesting perspective. Well, I hope that's a good thing.
It is, always. So today we want to talk about a special 7-day cruise coming up in October 2019. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, I do. I'm excited. We're going to go to the Caribbean, October 19th through 26th, and we're going to leave out of Fort Lauderdale and head off to the beautiful waters of the Caribbean. We're going to be several different locations. You want me to tell them about that?
Yes, please do.
Tell them about it now. Okay, so we're going to be going to Grand Turk. We're going to San Juan in Puerto Rico. We're going to St. Thomas and to Moon Cay in the Bahamas. And I'm really excited because I have cruised twice in the Caribbean, haven't we, Tom?
Yes.
But we have not been to any of these locations. So I'm really excited to get out there and see these new places. And of course, the waters in the Caribbean are so beautiful. And it's just fun to go out on the cruise. And we want to invite our listeners on the cruise too. So we're going to talk more about that today, aren't we?
That's right. This is going to be a wealth cruise. You know that we have done the Wealth Summit for the past number of years, and we're taking a break from that this year. There is going to be no Wealth Summit. Instead, we're doing little workshops around the country, different locations, and the Wealth Cruise.
Yeah.
So during the Wealth Cruise, yes, we're going to be going and exploring all these beautiful places. And while we're at sea traveling to the locations, you're going to get to hear the Wealth Cruise, the seminar portion of the cruise. So you get a 2-for-1 deal here.
That's right. So our family is hosting this cruise. We have been on a number of cruises where we have been speakers, but this is the first time we're hosting a cruise. First and only time that we have planned to host a cruise. And we're going to be speaking about wealth. We also have Dr. John Bergman speaking about health. Tom, why don't you tell us about him?
Well, Dr. John Bergman, if you've been to our Wealth Summit, you may have heard him, or maybe you've heard him because of his popularity on YouTube. He has way over 600,000 followers now on YouTube. And if you've ever been into his office in Huntington Beach, you know that it starts at 5 o'clock with a line of patients waiting up, and it goes until 7 o'clock at night. He's a very, very, very busy practitioner. He's got a waiting list to see him as a physician for over a year. You cannot get in to see Dr. Bergman, but you have a special opportunity to come and listen to him, and that's why we bring him to our events and why he's going to be on the cruise with us.
Well, health and wealth go together.
They do.
So when we talk about health, we say wealth is what you have. If all your money was gone, what would you be left with? Would you still have wealth? And many people trade money and health. So they give away their health in pursuit of money. That's not the right thing to do.
Well,
we want to have our health and maintain it, keep it, because what's the point of living a long life if our health is awful, or having a lot of money if our health doesn't let us enjoy it?
That's absolutely true. And you know, wealth and well-being and health, they all came from the same original English root word called whale. And, you know, we have segregated those meanings in our society, but really they are a conglomerate. You can't separate them. You can't be healthy and not wealthy. You can't be wealthy and not healthy because it's an oxymoron.
Yeah. And something I've heard Dr. Bergman say the last few times I've heard him speak was, if we're going to help you live a healthier life, you also want to make sure you've got enough money to do it. And so he loves to come and speak alongside us, realizing that those portions of the health and wealth, they do go together. They're hand in glove.
They absolutely do. Zig Ziglar, our mentor, often talked about money, and people ridiculed him for talking about money so much. And he says, well, I think God created the diamonds for his folks. And money isn't absolutely essential to living, but it's right up there to oxygen. That's what
right.
Ziglar used to say. And speaking of Ziglar, that's why we're having Krish Dhanam on the cruise with us as well.
That's right. So Krish Dhanam has spoken at a number of the Wealth Summits. You've heard him, and he brings a unique perspective to the cruise, the Wealth Cruise, because money is a part of wealth. It's also health is a part of wealth. It's also how you conduct yourself. And Krish has a unique style of motivation that is triggered toward growth. It's not just a good, warm feeling. This is a type of motivation that will stay with you so you can make the positive changes in your life that you need to make in order to experience the health and the wealth that you can truly have.
And of course, Krish was Zig Ziglar's right-hand man, his protege for 17 years. And it's so nice to see that the inspiration and the values and the wealth that Ziglar poured into Krish still being alive and propagated, because I don't know of anybody better than Krish that is able to expound on those values and the wealth that Ziglar left us.
Well, there's something even beyond just his speaking ability, and I'm speaking of Krish Dhanam, that would be important for us to learn about, because Zig Ziglar called Krish his second son. And in order to do that, over the years, a relationship had to develop. And so we want to hear from Krish. We want to be around Krish to see what is it that, what's behind that relationship where a man would turn and call another man, you're like my second son. And that's what we're going to be talking about, relationships. And Tom, you and I, besides talking about wealth and talking about using life insurance and using our cash values to increase our wealth, we're also going to be talking about family relationships, because we do have a large family and we have good personal relationships, and we extend that relationship to our clients. And so we want to talk about what are the important factors to create those nurturing relationships, whether it's husband and wife, whether it's parents and children, children and children, or even in our community, in our business, in the people that we serve.
Well, Michelle, we talk a lot about keeping our money rather than saving our money. And that's because we've learned how to keep relationships. We've learned how to keep and nurture the relationships that God's put us in. And that's really what we need to do with our money too. Because as Rabbi Lappin talks about, money is a spiritual thing. And if we don't nurture it and keep it, then it's not going to be there for us or to continue on with the values that we espouse.
Yeah. No, something I want to bring up here, often when you hear people talking about wealth and health going together and, a good balanced lifestyle, you often think, okay, what's the catch? Is there an MLM product that they're selling? A pill, or the latest health supplement? Are they going to want to get in their downline, et cetera, et cetera? So I want to clarify, we're not going to be selling anything like that on the cruise. There is no MLM involved. In fact, health does not come from a bottle. You can't do that like that. Neither can wealth. Neither can true motivation and the choices that you make in your life. None of that can come from a bottle or some product that you can package and sell like that. And so it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And so that's one of the things that you're going to get a taste of on the cruise. You're going to get to hear the presentations, the perspective, but then you're also going to get to see us live by those principles.
That's right.
And we're going to get to do it together. So it's going to be a different type of experience, totally different than coming to the 3-day Wealth Summit.
Well, I know when people come to the Wealth Summit, they're always sorry to go and didn't feel like we got enough personal connection. Even though we'll do a VIP dinner, we'll have time before and after. This is going to be different because we'll be able to see each other getting breakfast and maybe sit down to lunch together, or we'll be all on the side of the ship as we pull into harbor, or maybe we'll be exchanging our experiences of what did you do today? Oh, and I did this, and finding out, what was your perspective when you were in that water, or when you saw that site, or when you talked to the people that lived there? What was your perspective? And even if we don't do we can't do all the activities that are offered, but if you do one and I do another, and then we come together and we exchange our thoughts and ideas about that, we get to participate in a different kind of way that's very valuable.
Well, something you might want to do is join Michelle and our family on walking tours, because that's what we like to do when we go on a cruise and we reach a port. We like to find a guide that knows the area and takes us around, and we discover together what is going on in that community. Why is it the way it is? What makes it tick? Because that gives us the values of that area, and we really enjoy doing that because we come back with a greater understanding of that culture than just walking around or taking a tour on our own.
Yeah, so I know you, Mom and Dad, you went on a cruise and you went to Cuba here a while back, and I really enjoyed reading your blog, Dad, about your experience on that walking tour, seeing behind the scenes a little bit into that community and the effects that socialism, communism has had on the economy since the 1960s. Very fascinating.
Not only on their economy, but all the people and all the way down to the animals on the street.
Crazy.
It's amazing what it has done to that society.
So to join us on this cruise, that's going to be October 19th through the 26th, 7 days. We'll be on the New Amsterdam Holland American line. To book the cruise, contact Anila Dhanam. That's Krish's wife. She is managing the registration for the cruise. You can contact her at 469-261-6067. Again, that is 469-261-6067. You can also contact our office, and we'll get you Anila Dhanam's contact information. One of the things we're going to be talking about on the cruise here, and I'd like you to speak to this, Mom, because I know you talk about this often, is one of the takeaways. You're going to get effective routines with this new information so you can harmonize your life financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You often talk about how as you were raising us kids that you did not have a schedule, but you had a routine. Why is a routine important to success?
Well, because with a schedule is more rigid. Now, sometimes we have to operate by a schedule. I book appointments for people to talk with Tom, and once in a while with John, but usually book your own appointments. But I have to keep a schedule so I know who's talking to him at what time of day, because that's not very fair if you were expecting to talk with him at 10 o'clock and instead I book somebody else. So that's not really fair, or find out he's involved in some other activity. So that's not fair. But as I was raising my children, I had a routine. So maybe we didn't always eat breakfast at 6:30. Maybe one day it was 6:25, one day it's 6:40, but we are having breakfast before we get started on some other things. And so I had a routine of what needed to be done, and not necessarily a rigid schedule. Sometimes a rigid schedule does have to be used, but we want to have room for some flexibility. So we'll be talking about the different times that we use a routine and the different times we use a schedule, and what's important when. And really, it's kind of more just an adjustment in our minds so that we can be flexible with things that come up. And we see the same kind of thing with financial planning and people saying, okay, this is how much I I need in retirement. So figure it out for me. Truth is, how do you know that's what you need in retirement? Because there might be something that comes along that changes your needs, something unexpected, something good, something not so good, not so unexpected. And so we need to have plans in place, but not rigidity. And that's what we'll be talking about on the level of relationships and also finances.
You know, that's what you can really appreciate about life insurance is that it doesn't lock you into a fixed schedule. It allows you a routine, or what we like to call options. So a lot of options are built into a participating whole life insurance policy that you can exercise in the future depending on what life throws at you. Because none of us know today, and nobody out there can tell you, how much money you're going to need in retirement. Nobody knows the inflation rate. Nobody knows when the market volatility is going to change. Nobody knows that fact 100% accurately. But with life insurance, you have different options that you can exercise a routine rather than a specific schedule. And that gives you liberty to be able to be more wealthy and to have more control over your assets in the future than if you get stuck into a typical traditional financial planning routine or schedule. Mm-hmm. Now, we talked earlier about how does cruise lines and life insurance avoid risk? I think that's really fascinating. John, you want to talk about how life insurance avoids risk?
Certainly. So there are different types of risk out in the world. The way life insurance avoids risks is it looks at the statistics for how long a group of people, a large group of people, is expected to live. They can compile all those statistics, and these statistics are not going to vary significantly over a long period of time. So, if you have one person that lives 100 years or 120 years old, it's not going to significantly affect the statistic for the average life expectancy in the United States of America or even the world. So when you compile that information, that provides a nice steady foundation from which then the financial aspect can be added to that to provide a death benefit whenever any of the policyholders in this group happen to die. So that's the foundation for life insurance. And of course, as you know, there is also cash value that can be built up, which is like the equity in that death benefit. So there's more than one component that works into that financially, but that's like the foundation for how the insurance companies manage the risk of life expectancy.
Thank you. And Michelle, we were on a cruise one time and we took a tour through the kitchens and the pantry and everything. And the head chef was telling us how they avoid risk on the cruise line so that they can prepare for how much food is going to be on board. You want to share a little bit with that?
Yeah, that was really fascinating. So the cruise ships, they keep records of what kind of guests they have, where they're from, their nationality, how many from that particular region they had on this cruise. For years they can say, in February, second week in February, this is what kind of nationality we have. This is the type of people that are coming, and they keep track of everything that's eaten during that time. So they know how to load the ship for future cruises. So, for example, they told us when we have Americans coming on, we know we need to serve some larger portions. That's interesting. And then on that particular cruise, when we were touring the galley, the head chef said that there were particularly a lot of Greeks on that cruise, and he said, and we are getting low on feta cheese. So they knew a lot of Greeks were coming on, so they stocked extra feta cheese, but he was very aware that they were getting low on their feta cheese. So they have to plan and prepare and keep notes so that they are prepared for the people coming on. They don't know how much each person is going to eat, but they have a pretty good guide for how much food they need to stock up on for the food they're going to prepare to keep all those Greeks happy.
Something else that cruise lines do is they are very good at making sure that they don't expose themselves to undue risk when they set sail by making sure the cabins are full. And they do this in a very unique way, very much like insurance companies do, by studying large groups of people and how they respond. And they've all planned it out that if on a certain date, if cabins aren't filled, then they need to do something different to entice people to fill those up. So we're working with that risk as we set sail for this cruise out of Fort Lauderdale in October. And they already know that by May 1st, they expect so many rooms to be filled up. And if they're not, then guess what? They have to do something different to make sure that those rooms are filled up. Otherwise, it doesn't pay for them to let the cruise even happen.
That's right. And so May 1st is the deadline for this particular cruise to when they can guarantee that we will have enough rooms for all of you who want to come on the cruise. So if you want to be guaranteed to have a room on the cruise, be sure to register by May 1st. Now, will there be rooms available after May 1st? Probably, at least for a little while. But we can't guarantee how long because
price.
Or the price. The prices can start going up after that time because the cruise line's going to start selling those rooms to other people. So the inside cabin starting price right now is starting at $16.98 and plus taxes. And so be sure to contact Anila 469-261-6067 and to be able to lock in those prices and be able to come on this cruise with us.
When you said that price, the $16.98, that's for double occupancy.
Yes.
So that's not per person.
Correct.
That is per couple. So really, it's a great opportunity. We were delighted with these prices, and it's a great opportunity to get away somewhere fresh where you're not looking at the same four walls. It's an opportunity to look at your life differently, look at your wealth differently, the way you manage your money differently. It's a way to think about your health differently, to gain some positive insight to changes you can make for a healthier lifestyle. It's a time to get away and think about your relationships and what you can do to improve those relationships. We all know there's something we could do very quickly to damage relationships, but this is a time for us to think about what is it that I can do differently, and just getting away where you're not bothered by the things that are pressing in all the time, being able to get away from it all and just really think about these things, to be refreshed, to enjoy those great American meals that the cruise ships are preparing for you, or not the American meals, but with Americans in mind. It's really a great opportunity. So I hope you'll be able to join us on the cruise in October.
Yeah, with prices just starting at $16.98 for two people, that's really good. Just be sure to get those, get the guarantee that you can get those prices and get onto the cruise while you still have the time to do that.
One registrant has already told us that by the time they would come to the Wealth Summit and get their room and feed themselves for 3 days, this is the price that they were paying to come to Las Vegas for our Wealth Summit. This is 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're seeing exotic ports, and we're getting to enjoy our company, your company, for 7 full days. And so we're, like Michelle said, we are very excited to be able to lock in this guaranteed price.
That's right. So again, the cruise date's October 19th through the 26th. You can contact Anila, or you can also call our office. We'll be able to answer questions, get you further information about the cruise. You can contact our office, 702-660-7000.
I believe we're also going to have a link attached to the podcast somehow. So you might be able to catch that, so you can go see all the information for yourself. But also just call our office. We can provide you that link or provide you Anila's number, whatever you need. We're happy to help you because we want to see you there.
That's right. You are listening to Wealth Talks. We'll be back next week. Have a wonderful week.